Yeah, hello and warm welcome from Avantor and Thermo to our webinar today about embrace sustainability in a laboratory with cleaner cold storage equipment choices. So thanks for taking the time already. Um, we have to wait a couple of seconds to our organizer, no, to the presenter, I'm sorry. And he's there, Jace. Hello. He's struggling a bit of technical issues, so that's why. So I have to make him as a presenter and to start with some housekeeping notes so you don't have to write anything down um, because the presentation will send out afterwards together with a small survey from Avantor to you guys. So, and whenever you have questions, please don't hesitate to raise them by using the question icon on the top right of your screen. So we will take care about any question you might raise. And we have at the very end, after my short intro, a FAQ session where we try to answer all your questions. And if not, we are happy to come back to you later to the webinar and explaining more on your questions, your specific questions. Having said that, it's a great honor to welcome Jace Heibel from Thermo. That's your presenter for today, and he will give you valuable insights about sustainability at Thermo Fisher Scientific today. Thank you, Jace. Stage is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you to VWR for hosting this, and thank you all for joining. As mentioned, I'm Chase Heibel, Senior Product Manager of our ultra-low freezer products. And at Thermo Fisher, our mission to enable customers to make the world healthier, cleaner, safer drives our commitment to sustainability and environmental sustainability. We recognize that, like you, organizations have sustainability programs helping them reduce waste and resource consumption and guiding them to develop a more holistic view of their business and how they impact their customers, their communities, and the environment. We're not only invested in advancing our own sustainability, we're committed to partnering with customers like you to help you meet your own sustainability goals through greener products and services. First, what environmental challenges do we face in achieving and supporting more sustainable science? As we all know, the science of global climate crisis is clear, and from ocean plastics to deforestation, loss of biodiversity, and the effects of waste on the environment and health. And in our market, our customers, scientists are on the front lines in both developing solutions and expecting accountability from their suppliers and partners in the scientific community. Labs have a big part to play. Labs are very resource-intensive places. Even with all the improvements in efficiency, recyclability programs, water management programs and regulations, and other environmental controls, labs use 10 times more energy than office spaces, 4.5 times more water than office spaces, and generate 5.5 million metric tons of plastic water waste each year. And it is only growing. Total carbon impact of the industry has continued to increase annually, from 3.9% in 2021 to 5% in 2022. This information was compiled by our friends at My Green Lab in their 2023 The Carbon Impact of Biotech and Pharma report. And that is just energy, water, and plastic waste. Emissions, both from the labs and suppliers like Thermo Fisher, play a large role as well. Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions refer to different categories of greenhouse gas emissions, characterized by their source and control. Scope 1, these are direct emissions that come from sources owned or controlled by an organization, such as emissions from burning fossil fuels on site, like company-owned vehicles, or from company-owned facilities. Scope 2, these are indirect emissions resulting from the generation of electricity, heat, or steam purchased by the organization. They occur from activities outside of an organization's direct control, but are still associated with its operations, such as emissions from purchased electricity. Scope 3, the final one, these are indirect emissions emissions that occur as a result of an organization's activities, but from sources not owned or controlled by the organization. This category includes emissions from the entire value chain, including purchased goods and services, employing commuting, business travel, and the use of products sold by the organization. So in this case, they would be the products we manufacture and ship to our customers. At Thermo Fisher, our approach to environmental sustainability is always grounded in science with a focus on our customers. We have three areas of focus. Climate. As the world leader in serving science, we are committed to achieve our goals to reduce emissions. Second is nature, our role in protecting nature. That's why we are committed to preserving fresh water resources and managing waste. And third, a big topic that we're going to be discussing today, design for sustainability. Investing in innovation to not only design and develop the highest performing products, but also minimize the environmental impact of our products and packaging wherever possible. And we do all this in collaboration with our stakeholders, including customers, suppliers, colleagues, industry associates, all while providing transparency and public understanding of our environmental impact and progress towards our goals. And we have our own targets for reducing these impacts because the world's leading scientists have sent a clear message that urgent action is needed to avoid the worst impact of climate change. This means limiting global temperature increase to 1.5 C above pre-industrial levels, the most ambitious aim of the Paris Agreement. Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions reductions is a major part of that goal. To demonstrate Thermo Fisher Scientific commitment, we have established three targets. We call this our 50-90-0 strategy. 50% reduction in our Scope 1 and 2 emissions, where Scope 1 is the fossil fuels used in our facilities and vehicles, and Scope 2 is the electricity consumed by our facilities and vehicles. Having 90% of our suppliers by spend set science-based targets, with the targets we are holding our suppliers to the same level of ambition we are setting for ourselves. So it's not just good enough for us, we need our suppliers to be doing the same. And 0 is our net zero by 2050 commitment. We follow the consensus definition of net zero, meaning to reduce emissions across the full value chain, from the raw materials we buy to the use of our products by at least 90%. Plus, we recognize our goal in protecting the world's natural resources, as I mentioned. That's why we are committed to preserving freshwater resources and managing waste. By this year, we will have assessed water usage from water-intensive manufacturing facilities in water-scarce areas. And by 2025, we will have 30 manufacturing and warehouse sites be zero waste certified. Thermo Fisher Scientific's claims targets are undergoing validation by the Science Based Targets Initiative, commonly referred to as SBTI, an organization that establishes the standards, guidance, and tools to drive ambitious climate action in the private sector. Target validation demonstrates to our customers, investors, and colleagues that our commitments are aligned with the Paris Agreement and its aims towards the 1.5 C pathway. And we must do all of this with transparency. We aim to foster public understanding of our environmental impact, make credible progress towards our goals, and explain how climate change impacts our business. These disclosures and insights are of high importance to all our stakeholders, including customers, colleagues, and the local communities where we operate. Since 2010, we have participated in the CDP disclosure program. Last year, we prepared our first task force on climate-related financial disclosures, TCFD report. We are continuously working to enhance our climate disclosures with transparency through our annual corporate social responsibility and financial reports. We hope this encourages other suppliers in the industry to do the same. We have a wide network of partners that we are encouraging to work with everyone in the industry. Now, let's get into the details of designing for sustainability that all manufacturers should undertake. From designing through the end of life for our products, we are applying design for sustainability thinking to our product development process. We also understand the biggest opportunity to reduce a product's environmental impact arises early in the design process. Our framework for design for sustainability includes considerations in 5 impact areas: less hazardous, less waste, more energy efficient, responsibly packaged, and extended life. Now let's get into the details of designing for sustainability that all manufacturers should undertake. Let's on to the next page. Beyond just that designing from sustainability, we have our Greener Products program. And we also partner with a nonprofit, as I mentioned earlier, Mind Green Lab, for the environmental impact factor label called ACT, which stands for Accountability, Consistency, and Transparency. This mirrors a lot of the same initiatives in that design for sustainability that we outlined before. But by providing this eco-nutrition label for Thermo Fisher Laboratory products, we are providing valuable, easy to compare information to help customers make more informed decisions about the overall environmental impact of the products they're considering purchasing. It also helps drive continuous improvement from suppliers like us to seek renewable energy options and reduce waste at our facilities. We currently have over 350 products registered, and the list continues to grow. You can see here that the label is broken up into a few general areas: manufacturing, user impact, end of life, and innovation. Those are all combined to generate an overall environmental impact. That number itself isn't necessarily a gauge of how green a product is, but should be used as a comparison guide when looking at similar products. For example, comparing an HPLC score to a ULT score won't necessarily tell you if that particular HPLC has a low relative score. You need to compare it to other HPLC products. But by comparing it to the ULT, you can understand within your own lab how much each product is impacting the environment. And as an organization, Thermo Fisher also supports more sustainable lab practices at our own facility. Whether that be the Freezer Challenge or programs like this, we have a lot of labs ourselves globally. 25 of them, involving more than 500 lab colleagues, have participated in the My Green Lab certification program, which is recognized by the United Nations Race to Zero campaign. It is a key measure of progress toward a zero carbon future and is a gold standard for laboratory sustainability best practices around the world. We have labs that range from bronze, with a 40% or more green lab assessment actions implemented, to green, where 80% are implemented. I suggest your own lab investigate in this program. It is a great way to assess how much you are impacting the environment and what you can do to reduce that impact. So, what does it we call products that are designed for sustainability? When we take one or more of these impact factors, less hazardous, less waste, more energy efficient, packaged responsibly, and extended life, we create a greener by design product. You can see in the lead up to this that we have been very thoughtful in our approach to criteria and impact of a greener by design product. This is to reduce greenwashing in the industry. We see more and more suppliers claiming products are green when they just meet the regulatory requirements that exist. It isn't enough to just meet the requirements. And that is why we set these aggressive goals and do so with transparency. Let's talk about a product that brings all 5 of these environmental impacts to the table. The Thermo Scientific TSX Universal Ultra-Low Temperature Freezer was designed with the environment in mind. Typically, when we hear freezers and green, we think low energy and maybe refrigerants. TSX Universal delivers much more than that. Less hazardous, refrigerants and insulation with low global warming potential and zero ozone depletion potential. Zero. Less waste, made with recycled content stainless steel and aluminum. So what the box is actually made out of is recycled content. More energy efficient. Energy Star certified. I know that isn't a direct impact here, but it is a standard that we can measure up against. But Energy Star certified, most efficient large capacity ultra low freezer, over 750 liters, and responsibly packaged. Uses recycled content, corrugated cardboard, and foam planks. And finally, extended life, 12-year warranty, significantly longer than other comparable products, ensuring a longer life. And on top of that, it's manufactured in a zero waste facility. More than 90% of the waste generated at the site is diverted from landfill and or incineration. And this is all backed by that ACT label. TSX Universal ULTs are the first greener by design products from Thermo Fisher Scientific that meet criteria in all 5 program impact areas. Most products in that greener by design program only meet 1 or 2 of these criteria. This meets all 5. It isn't enough to just be low energy anymore for cold storage. Cold storage must be greener across all categories of sustainability. And let's dive into each factor related to cold storage and explain why they are important. First, we have less hazardous. F-gas regulations, EU 2024-573 to be exact, as well as other global regulatory bodies, have set limits on GWP for refrigerants and insulation. Ultra-low temperature freezers are exempt from many of these, including existing F-gas. They have to report what they're using, but they don't need to meet the more stringent levels. This will change to a limit of 150 GWP for F-gas refrigerated units by 2030, but today it's not. What this means is a lot of suppliers are saying they're F-gas compliant while still using refrigerants that are extremely high global warming index potential. A popular redundant cooling unit in the market uses refrigerant levels at over 6,000 GWP. Our values are 3. We've been using refrigerants well below that 150 limit in TSX since 2015. We don't stop at being compliant. We choose refrigerants that help us have very low environmental impact. TSX Universal Series ULT freezers generate less waste and are made in a zero waste to landfill manufacturing facility. They contain steel and aluminum with recycled content, up to 70% of the unit. And the steel is locally sourced, which reduces its emissions impact even further. These are large steel boxes, so this is a big environmental impact, using that recycled steel, sourcing it locally so the emissions from transport as well. Thermo Fisher is also committed to reducing our resource consumption, using fewer materials and disposing of waste in the most responsible way possible. Many of our Thermo Fisher products are manufactured in zero waste to landfill manufacturing facilities. There's about 22 manufacturing sites globally that have achieved this. I mentioned earlier, our goal is for 30 by next year. And that includes one that's already certified, that is Asheville, North Carolina site, where the TSX Universal is manufactured. And we have other lab products being manufactured throughout Europe as well that are achieving the zero waste manufacturing certification. Now, one of the most obvious ones for freezers, but one that shouldn't be underemphasized. TSX Universal is more energy efficient. All TSX Universal ULTs beat today's Energy Star criteria. It's been around since 2016. It's an older standard, and we beat it by a wide margin. And we're positioned to meet the tightening requirement in 2025, where that's going to be reduced from 0.55 to 0.3. Many products today do not meet the current standards, and many products currently registered as compliant will no longer be when the new standard arrives. An eco-design label has been in the works for many years now. Unfortunately, it hasn't been able to be enacted yet in Europe. And how energy efficient a unit is doesn't just impact the plug. It also impacts the amount of energy the HVAC system uses, because any energy consumed by the unit is transferred directly to heat load into the room itself. If you look at it from a straight operational cost, TSX Universal larger capacity units, the very, very large units, you would use about 950 euro per year if you're looking at common German euro costs, about 33.33 euros per kilowatt euro per year in energy, compared to about 1,800 euros for some of these others currently available products. But that doesn't tell the whole story, because these units are all different sizes. Their efficiency is different. If you look instead at euro per liter or efficiency of sample storage, you really start to see why efficiency matters. Where TSX Universal is using about €1 of energy per liter of sample storage, these others can use as much as 3.5 times that amount per sample. A huge factor difference for every sample being stored. Looking at a straight kilowatt hour per day value doesn't provide the whole picture. You can't look at a spec sheet and see, oh, this one uses 8 kilowatt, this one uses 7. This one must be more energy efficient. You have to look at by sample storage. From a global scale, this means since the launch of the original TSX ultra-low freezer in 2015 to now, the industry is saving near 400 to 500 gigawatt hours per year when compared to legacy ultra-low freezers. That is as much as 45 to 55,000 single-family homes. That is a staggering amount of energy reduction. Again, we don't stop at being compliant. TSX Universal is one of the most efficient Energy Star certified large capacity, over 750 liter reach-in ULTs commercially available. It is also important not to just consider the unit itself, but the packaging used and its shipping impact. That is why we responsibly package the units by using corrugated cardboard with 43% recycled content, 33% post-consumer, and 10% post-industrial, and polyethylene foam planks with 60% post-industrial recycled content. Additionally, these material types are recyclable as well. Beyond the packaging, regionalized production of our ultra-low freezers enables us to reduce our total CO2 emissions from shipping even more. We've built, we've shipped, and now the units have been used. Now, how about how long the units last and what to do with them once they've exceeded their usage life? We backed our TSX Universal with 12-year compressor warranty, 2 years longer than the typical ultra-low freezer lifespan, and 7 years longer than the typical warranty, which equals less production, less transport, and less waste. In fact, that 2 additional years could mean 17% less units being produced, shipped, and disposed of yearly. That is a major decline in all previous environmental impacts we've discussed. When disposal is needed, we have recycling programs to help ensure proper disposal of older units, because most of the overall freezer can be recycled, diverted from landfill. All of these factors, while not directly aligning with the My Green Labs Act label, have a lot of commonality with it. So in the spirit of transparency and sustainability, all TSX Universal models have this Act label. Our legacy TSX European models did as well, and had as much as a 14% higher environmental impact factor than the TSX Universal. TSX Universal ULT Act label scores are best in class for ultra-low freezers. We try to make it easy for our customers and partners to identify these more sustainable products through the Greener by Design program by making them in our marketing material with a green leaf. So in our brochures and other content that VWR shares, look for the green leaf. We also proudly display the third-party labels in our material as well, whether that be Energy Star, ACT labels, or other programs. While sustainability is of paramount importance to help combat climate change, at the end of the day, an ultra-low temperature freezers need to perform. They need to be reliable. It must preserve samples. TSX Universal is backed by over 80 years of negative ADC innovation at Thermo Fisher Scientific to be just that. Be the pinnacle of reliability, pinnacle of performance and sustainability. You shouldn't have to choose between those criteria. You deserve the best performance and the best sustainability story. Our innovations in Universal V-Drive has delivered a 33% reduction in energy consumption, 41% faster pull down time, so users can start using their units faster, 83% tighter temperature performance and control when compared to the previous product. Keep product further away from unsafe temperatures, 52% faster recovery time, 15 minutes for a full 1 minute door opening with both inner and outer doors opened in an empty cabinet. 57% faster reentry time to allow users to re-access their samples faster. And again, a 20% lower environmental impact with looking at all ACT labels. All with universal voltage, so units can be plugged in anywhere with the same performance no matter where they're being used in the world. Expanded set point range up to -40 Celsius. Whisper quiet operation, only 43 dBA, and a 12-year compressor warranty, and much, 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 much more. TSX Universal is the ultimate freezer solution that adapts to your lab's needs while maintaining the integrity of your precious samples. But there's more ways, of course. It's not just about what you buy to be green. Partnering with Thermo Fisher on sustainability goes well beyond purchasing greener products, as well as with VWR. From supply centers to offering sustainable delivery, plastic recycling programs, and cold storage optimization technologies, we offer customers a broad range of services designed to advance your sustainability goals. And with that, I think we can start the Q&A session. I'll pass it back. Thank you for
thanks, Chase, already. Sorry, I interrupted you. Thanks already, Chase. And I'm just checking the question area. So there is one, Chase, called what other common lab products from Thermo Fisher Scientific have a sustainability story like that one you just shared with the TSX freezer, or is that all what you have? I don't think so, but up to you.
Yeah, it's a great question. I was focused on one product today, but I did mention our Greener by Design program, Designed for Sustainability, is a company-wide initiative. But in my little world of cold storage and laboratory products, our refrigerators and freezers are all made in the same zero waste to landfill manufacturing site, use those low global warming index potentials, have that Energy Star certification, focus on that greener. Other products across the organization, whether it be biosafety cabinets or others, all have that initiative in mind. So really look for that green leaf. We're trying across the organization to deliver those greener products.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the green leaf is also present on our homepage, so you have a clear idea what is greener by design and what's not. And if there is any question left, yeah, don't hesitate to contact us. That's for sure. Um, sorry, is there an eco design label for ultra low freezer? I guess that was part, Chase.
Yeah,
No, right?
it's been a interesting ride. I've been part of those discussions with the council, European Council, on getting that standard. There was a lot of work during the pandemic and before the pandemic to get an eco design. We're still hopeful. Right now, though, today for ultra low temperature freezers as well as laboratory specific refrigerators and freezers, there isn't an eco design. So that's why, although it's not directly applicable, we fall back on the Energy Star certification because it really does hold all suppliers, all partners in the industry accountable because they're tested by third party organizations to the exact same standard. So it gives you kind of a base level of understanding
Yeah.
of how energy efficient they are.
Okay.
But we're
Thanks for
hopeful.
this. And the last one, and I can imagine it will take more time, Chase, as far as I have those regulation committees in my own. Yeah, I know that that could take time, but that is a great fallback situation, that's for sure. Uh, and last one is why hasn't the minus 8 included not earlier in with that stricter F-gas regulations?
Yeah,
What
so
was the reason? Do you know the reason for not implementing that earlier?
yeah, I do. It's I mean, from a global standpoint, ultra freezers and scientific refrigeration compared to uh, commercial and home refrigeration is a somewhat drop in the bucket. So these global bodies, really focused on driving the consumer space to these green refrigerants first. Heavily focused on it, it's going to have the most impact area on the global warming. Saying that, there was another factor, well, why didn't you just include them with the rest? When these were originally being drafted, because F-gas has been around for a considerable amount of time, there were suppliers in the ultra low freezer and scientific refrigeration industry that said that would be a too large of a technical burden because making ultra low freezer isn't easy. It would be too big of a burden to get to these ultra low temperatures. That hasn't really been the case for the last 10 years. All major suppliers have the ability, the technology is proven. So that is why it's now being updated in the latest draft. So it's being pulled down in the future. What it does mean, though, is, as I mentioned earlier, is how now all the consumer products have moved towards this. It does mean the availability of those refrigerants, those legacy refrigerants to do repairs, is becoming much more difficult to source and much more expensive. So doing a repair on those older units or those units that are now being sourced that are still using those legacy refrigerants is going to become much, much more difficult and much, much more costly in the coming years.
Hmm. Okay. Get it. A very last one. Is there a brochure with that greener design as a topic where we could see all greener by design products in one brochure, which can be shared?
Yeah, so we don't have a single brochure that has all the greener by design products. That would probably be a pretty big brochure, and but it's a great idea. But for the products that we talked about today, the TSX ultra low freezers, yes, we have a couple content pieces. One, the brochure that you can easily get on the VWR's website and can be shared after this, as well as we have a specific piece that talks about the greener by design aspects for the TSX ultra low freezer that can be shared by this team after the call. It talks about everything we discussed today.
Yeah, great. And I will share that to the attendee after the call and to all as well. Yeah, I'm just checking again. So there seems to be no additional question.
Okay.
So
Well,
with that, yeah. Sorry, Chase.
no, I was going to say if questions do come later, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk about this topic um, as long as I need.
Yeah, exactly. And otherwise, there is an email address to all attendees, webinar@avantosciences.com. So don't hesitate. I know that question will come during your daily work when you are asked to answer on those questions in maybe your pharmaceutical company. So please come back to us. We are happy to share all infos we have and help you out if you struggle with some details. That's for sure. And having said that, I like to thank you, Chase, for giving us that really impressive insights. And I learned a lot today, which is way above the green star, which we all know. But that's for sure. This was an impressive one. And as said before, we will share right after the webinar the recording. So don't hesitate to send through the recording link to interested colleagues as well. And plus a small survey. Please share your feedback with us. What can be done better for next time? What you like to see in the next webinars? Please make use of that tool as well. And with that, I will close the conference right now. I wish you a very great rest of the day and take care as always. And thanks again, Chase. And
Thank
take care.
you.
Goodbye.